All right, today we're gonna be architects, but not of buildings, of language. We're about to uncover the secret blueprint that holds every single English sentence together. And we're gonna start with a pretty famous puzzle. So check this out. It's a famous line from the linguist Noam Chomsky. Try saying it out loud. Colorless green ideas sleep furiously. It sounds weird, right? Something feels off. But the question of why it feels so wrong is actually really, really important. So, what's the verdict? Is this a sentence? I bet your gut is screaming, no way. But, the answer's a little trickier than you'd think. And it gets right to the very core of what a sentence is. Okay, so to figure this out, we've got to understand that every sentence is really made of two critical parts working together. You've got the structure, that's the grammar, and you've got the meaning, which we call semantics. So, what's the official rulebook say? Well, a sentence has to express a complete thought. It's a total package deal. You need the grammatical skeleton, right? The structure, but you also need it to actually mean something. Without both, your building isn't just wobbling. You can't live in it. And this is where it gets really interesting, because it breaks down our little puzzle perfectly. That Chomsky phrase, colorless green ideas sleep furiously, it's grammatically perfect. You've got your noun, your verb, your adjective, all the pieces are there. It's just nonsense. It doesn't mean anything. But then look at the other one. The student's learning grammar. That makes sense, we know what it's talking about, but it's not a complete thought. It's missing a crucial piece of its structure.
So what are those crucial pieces I'm talking about? Well, every single complete sentence, I don't care how simple or complicated it is built on a foundation of two essential parts, the subject and the predicate.
First up, you've got the subject. Think of this as your main character, the absolute star of the show. It's just who or what the sentence is about. Simple as that.
And then you've got its partner, the predicate. The predicate tells us what the subject is or what it does. This is the part that always has the verb. A subject without a predicate is just a name hanging in the air, right? The predicate is what actually brings it to life. But finding the subject isn't always a walk in the park. Sometimes it's like a little treasure hunt. In The Cackling of Geese Saved Rome, the whole phrase, the cackling of geese, is the subject. But check this out. Here comes the bus. The subject, the bus, is hiding all the way at the end. And what about a command like sit down? The subject you isn't even written down. It's just understood.
All right, your turn. Let's try one. Look at this sentence. On the top of the hill lives a hermit. Can you spot the subject? What's the who or what this sentence is really about? Did you say a hermit? If you did, you nailed it. See, the core idea is just a hermit lives. All that other stuff, on the top of the hill, that's just telling us where. It's a perfect example of how flexible sentence structure can be. So once we've got our subject and our predicate, and we have a complete thought, what can the sentence actually do? Well, it turns out sentences really have four main jobs, and the punctuation at the end, that's our biggest clue for figuring out which job it's doing. And here they are, the big four. A declarative sentence, it just declares something, makes a statement. An interrogative interrogates, it asks a question. An imperative, that's a command, it tells you what to do. And finally, an exclamatory sentence, that's for expressing strong feelings, like shouting with words. Four jobs, four different purposes, four punctuation marks. Easy. Okay, we've got the foundation and we know the purpose. Now it's time to look at the actual blueprints. Believe it or not, there are 5 basic architectural patterns that nearly every sentence in English follows. Blueprint number 1 is the simplest of all, just a subject plus a verb. That's it. The key is that the verb here doesn't need anything else to make sense. Birds fly. I slept. It's the most basic, solid little structure you can build.
Just look at these examples. My arms are aching. Something happened. The train has arrived. See? Each one has a subject, and it has a verb. Nothing more needed. It's a totally complete, self-contained thought.
All right, let's add another piece to our structure. Blueprint number 2 is subject, verb, and object. Now, in this pattern, the verb is an action that gets transferred onto something or someone else, and that something else is our object. Think about it. If I say, I need, you're going to ask, need what? The answer, arrest, is the object. 5 people are moving what? The piano. We left. Left what? The car. The object is literally the thing that gets the action from the verb.
Now, blueprint number 3 is a little different. It's subject, verb, plus a complement. Now, a complement is not like an object. It doesn't get an action done to it. Instead, it renames or describes the subject. The best way to think about it is that the verb acts like an equal sign. Subject equals complement.
For example, in "this piano is heavy," you're really saying piano equals heavy. Heavy is just describing the piano. Or "it was a big problem" means it equals a big problem. You'll see this pattern a lot with verbs like is, was, seems, or becomes. We call them linking verbs because they literally link the subject to its description. Okay, let's get a little more complex with blueprint number 4. This one is cool. It has 2 objects, an indirect one and a direct one. You see this pattern all the time with verbs like give, send, or buy. Actions where something is transferred to a recipient.
So let's take David bought Melanie a present. You could just say David bought a present. That's a simple subject, verb, object sentence. But who did he buy it for? Melanie. She's the indirect object, the one who receives it. And a present is the direct object, the actual thing that was bought.
And here we are, our final blueprint. Subject, verb, object, plus a complement. Now pay close attention here because this is different from blueprint number 3. Back then, the complement described the subject. In this pattern, the complement describes or renames the object.
Let's look at they declared him chairman. Who became chairman? Not they, him. So chairman renames the object, him. Or how about you make my day special? What is special? Not you, my day. My day is the object. So the key takeaway here is this complement is all about the object. So there you have it, the foundation, the purpose, and the 5 core blueprints of a sentence. But so what? Why does any of this stuff actually matter?
Well, it's because this isn't about memorizing rules for a test. Understanding these patterns gives you control. It lets you build your sentences with real intention. It's how you make your writing and your speaking clearer, more powerful, more persuasive. Honestly, it's the difference between throwing together a shack and designing a skyscraper. So the next time you sit down to write an email, a report, or heck, even just a text message, think like an architect. You have the blueprints now. They're all yours. The only question left is, what are you going to build with them?